Chucky has returned for season 3.
Yay!
We have covered every episode of this show thus far, and we will continue to keep covering it.
Yep.
Till the bitter end.
Yep.
So, unfortunately, this season is going to be broken into 2 parts. It is only 4 episodes long this year.
Oh.
And next year, I'm assuming, I'll say February or March makes sense to me, but that's not confirmed. Pure speculation on my part.
Yeah.
But we're getting the next 4 sometime next year. So this will be over in about 3 weeks from right now.
No.
Which is crazy. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about episode 1 of season 3, Murder at 1600 or 1006. It's the address of the White House. Anyway, okay. Let's just jump right into it, shall we? If you're wondering where this is streaming, you can watch this right now on the Sci-Fi app. We watched it on there. We don't have a subscription to it or anything. And it played without any ads. Yep. Full HD, unedited in any way. So I don't know if every episode will drop like that on there, but that's where you can watch it. It is also on USA as well as Peacock. They're streaming it on everything right now. So there you go. Okay. So this season, we get Joseph the doll.
Hi, I'm Joseph.
Yeah. Chucky has made his way into the White House. Yeah. Now, Jake does ask a very interesting question here, which is immediately my question.
Yeah.
How the hell did Chucky get himself into the White House? Because I got a couple questions on that, right? Not only did he have to know Henry's brother's dead name, because I can only assume Joseph is the name of his dead brother.
Right.
Right.
That's what I'm assuming.
The president says, like, you know, it's just a coincidence. That's the
like,
name of the doll or whatever. And then he says that I got a dead, you know, kid, and it's got to be the same, right?
That's what I thought.
So Chucky sees that this new president is elected. Now, where in the timeline this takes place, I don't know, because they mentioned all the way up till Obama.
Right.
So I don't know if this is supposed to be a stand-in for Trump, or this is supposed to be post-Trump, like Biden era. Is this the stand-in for Biden for Chucky?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that's this year, right? Like it's 2023 or something, but elections aren't until 2020. It doesn't matter. Anyway, but I don't. Okay. Number one, anything coming into the White House that wasn't already pre-approved to come in would have rigorous like scannings and they would look into it. Like you can't just ship yourself to the White House, right?
No.
Right. So somehow Chucky had to make himself appealing to this kid enough for him to bring him in there of his own volition.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's no way Chucky can just mail himself to the White House.
Right.
He could somehow like get in through some person who brought him in, and then he went into this place and went into that place and eventually made his way over to him. I genuinely don't know, and I think that they're probably never going to tell us just because how it'd be so convoluted. But this show's convoluted. It always has been.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm leaning towards we might not get an explanation, but I guess we'll see.
And in case you're wondering, usually we bring Chucky out from his box, which is right behind me. But Chucky's too hard to get out of his box. We have a bunch of stuff on top of him.
It's safer with him in there anyway.
Now Glenn and Glenda is going to be joining us for our reviews. And he's a very good stand-in. She's a very good stand-in. They are a very good stand-in. So, yeah. As far as how Joseph made his way into Henry's life, will this be explained? Maybe. If they do, I'm sure it'll be in classic Chucky fashion. It'll be just convoluted, ridiculous, and I'll just say, okay, because I don't care. I don't care. This is one of those shows. This is a franchise at this point. where unless they really, really did something insanely stupid, where I'm like, come on, now you're not even trying. And I'm willing to pretty much accept anything with this franchise at this point.
Me too, because it's just fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Including, and there's a nod to this, I think, because it's something I was going to bring up later, but I might as well bring it up now because we're talking about that. Don Mancini had talked about how his franchise needs to go to space. And in this episode, Lexi says, I don't care if it's the goddamn moon, I'm going, basically.
Yeah.
Paraphrasing, of course. But I was like, I wonder if that's a nod or a hint towards where we're going.
Next season,
I mean,
after this, he's in space.
He went to the White House.
Why not?
What's next?
Send him
right?
to outer space.
That seems like the next logical step. So yeah, whether or not we'll ever get this addressed remains to be seen. I'm leaning 50-50. I really don't know if we're ever going to get it explained. But there you go. So Henry has attached himself to Joseph. Now, I would say that Mancini is trying to harken back to his roots here, right? He's making Henry this stand-in for Andy.
He looks like him too a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Right? And this is not new, right? This is something that we've done previously already, right? With other kids in the franchise that Chucky has latched himself onto. Jake being one of these, except for Jake isn't this young. And especially in this season where he looks like a jacked man.
Yeah, he's like super buff.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, Jake's been hitting it, man. He's been hitting the gym.
He's got to train up so he can fight Chucky.
Yeah. Yeah. He's preparing his body and his mind. Okay. So if this was something we missed in the trailer, I just feel like this would have been talked about by us and by others.
I thought so too.
But Devin Sawa has made a return. No surprise here with his fourth character now, the president of the United States. Why not? We should have probably guessed that was going to be the case.
I don't know. I didn't really think about it. I was just really excited and kind of overwhelmed that he was even going to be in the White House.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just like,
if we saw him in the trailer, I totally missed it.
Yeah. I don't remember us reacting to that.
No, I feel like we would have noticed that. Because I knew instantly when we saw him here, the second he stepped on screen, I was like, of course he's the president.
Right.
Of course he is. Right? So, like, I feel like we would have saw him in the trailer, we would have been like, there he is the president. But I like that this is revealed in this. So I feel like he wouldn't be. Because that's a funny reveal for anyone who watches this show. And Devin Sawa's character has become basically Kenny. Yeah. Except for he's a different character every time as opposed to Kenny just comes back as Kenny. But yeah, Devin Sawa has returned. But I think we always talk about that, but we don't really talk about Michael Theriault as much, who also returns as a new character and is in previous seasons as different characters.
Yeah, he does.
So that was interesting to me. I was like, oh yeah, this guy. He's someone new now. So Devin Sawa is not the only one who does this. Now, of course, Jennifer Tilly plays Jennifer Tilly and Tiffany. So that's not even something new for the franchise.
No, not at all.
Right. So, okay. And all right. I already talked about all that stuff. So Jake and Lexi, and I guess Devin, not as much. He's a podcaster, but Jake and Lexi are both influencers, and they're doing it specifically to gain a following to try to hunt down Chucky.
Yeah.
And Lexi is thirst trapping
on TikTok.
She's talking about how she's doing that specifically. I don't know if she's actually talking to her followers. It seemed like she was. No,
it did. It seemed like she was like, all right.
Like, I'll thirst trap all I have to get you guys to listen or whatever. I just thought that was going to be like something she cut out.
I don't think she did.
But then she kind of kept talking and it was like to them.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, is she just admitting outright?
I think so.
Okay. I mean, that's very Lexi.
Very Lexi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very Lexi. This episode felt like it was 15 minutes
Oh my
long.
God, it felt so short.
Yeah,
and it's like
ended. A full 45 minutes.
Yeah,
man.
It's a full length like episode for sure.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's gonna go by fast, and I don't like that.
I mean, we don't really get much out of our main three. You know, Jake, Devin, and Lexi. Basically, we just kind of find out where they're at. Mm-hmm. Jake and Devin are still a couple. I think they're, from what I read out of that scene, I maybe missed the exact dialogue, but I'm assuming they were deciding to have sex for the first time. Is that what was happening there?
I don't know. I feel like that's what it was implied.
Okay.
But that they could also be talking about something else.
Okay.
You know?
Whatever.
I don't know.
So
they're still a couple, and they're very happy together.
Yeah.
Which is great.
They're just establishing they're still together.
Yep.
They're in love.
Yeah.
And Lexi, of course, is still on the hunt for her sister.
Yeah.
And the only real big reveal here is that
their teacher?
Yes.
Their teacher from the first season.
Yeah.
Is like
Miss Fairchild
has taken them on.
Has returned. She was absent in the second season, to my memory. I don't remember ever seeing her.
I don't think so. They were at a totally different school.
Right. So she's come back, and she's going to assist them in their schoolwork. I think this is just to like tie up this question of like, where are their parents and like how are they on their own? Even though I feel like at this point, I don't know how far into the timeline we are with their stories and how young they are when it started, but they got to be approaching adulthood at this point. Now they'd need to get jobs, and they'd need to, you know, be able to sustain a life in order to live, which when they're on the hunt for Chucky, that's going to be complicated. But I guess Miss Fairchild is their guardian right now.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
So she's taking them on as her kids, basically.
Yeah.
And she's getting them ready for school again. So I don't know if that's gonna, like, okay, I think what's gonna happen there, she's the way they're gonna get to the White House. Right? Through some school program. Or something, right? She's going to get them into some contest for the school, win a trip to the friggin' White House or whatever, right? So I think that's how they're getting to the White House is through her.
I could see that.
Because I don't see any other reason other than just to explain who their guardians are now, just to kind of put that question to bed.
Yeah,
Right?
Right.
So,
So the first lady is the nun from the last season. Is that right?
The one who gets like her eye taken out?
That like is falling for Chucky?
Right. It's the hot one.
Isn't it?
I'd have to look. Maybe. He's just recasting everybody in different roles.
I was just thinking about it right now.
I was
like, she looks super familiar, and we'd have to check. And I thought maybe it was the same.
Maybe. I mean, it's been a year.
Yeah.
I don't remember for sure, but you could be onto something there. Why not? Now, the power outage.
Yeah.
They said they got hacked.
They did say they got hacked.
Right. So is this like, is Glenn or Glenda proficient with hacking?
Not that I remember.
Nika? Like who? She doesn't have arms. Yeah, so... Although, wait, where's Nika in this now? Did she leave her body and she's like, oh, fuck, I can't remember now.
I know, it sucks because it's been years since we watched the last season.
Yeah.
I don't remember where Nika is.
Well, regardless,
so
who do we know that could be hacking the White House and why?
Because Chucky's in there?
Right, but who's doing it? Because they said it's a hacker. Chucky ain't hacking, right? But who would be? And for what question. Reason? Why would they be trying to get in there? So Chucky,
I don't know who would be hacking.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know what character does that.
Yeah. No one I remember.
No.
But regardless, yeah. Now, somehow Chucky's able to bite a Secret Service agent, without alerting Henry that he's moved.
I know. I was confused by that.
See how that works or happens?
Unless he, like, Henry, like, moves, you know, because he gets scared or whatever when the power goes out for a second.
Yeah.
And so then Chucky's, like, in the jostling is able to move, but...
Yeah. So, I will say this. The show never, ever disappoints on a couple things. Number one, when the kills happen, they are insane. They are graphic.
Yeah.
They are practical. And they are awesome. This guy, Teddy, blowing his head off.
Oh my gosh.
Was gnarly.
It was gnarly.
That was definitely one of the more violent and graphic headshots.
Yeah.
Suicide headshots I've seen, even though it was not suicide, but that kind of up close. His head completely explodes out the side of his face.
His eyeball like lands on the wall and slides down.
Awesome.
It looked, yeah, it was great.
Just
it
awesome.
was really great. Super gnarly.
Yeah. So, so good. Another thing is that Chucky always looks great.
Yes.
The doll,
animatronic and CGI is always wonderful.
Yeah. Not always. Of course, there's some CGI where he's like walking or something from a distance and it does look kind of shitty. But outside of that, like the up close animatronic Chucky stuff with maybe some CGI assistance, I love it. I love it. It looks great. It doesn't, because it's on television, you're always worried, like, are we going to bring down the quality of the doll? Never. They never skimp on that aspect. They know Chucky is their bread and butter with this show, and it's like, we got to land him. We got to make sure that he looks great. Another thing, Brad Dourif is always phenomenal as Chucky.
Yes.
Right? That voice is always spot on. He always brings in, he always brings in the energy.
Yeah.
He never feels like he's phoning it in.
No.
It always feels like, it feels exactly like Chucky.
Yes.
Throughout the entire franchise.
Yeah.
He's never once in any entry, in 7 films, 3 seasons of a TV show now, he's never once had a performance voice-wise that wasn't completely consistent with every other film.
Yeah, I agree. He's always super consistent and he does a fantastic job.
And if he ever dies, I mean, I know he's getting a little older now. I hate to even say that stuff. That would be devastating. It'd be devastating for obvious reasons, because Brad Dourif's awesome, and I'm sure, you know, we've grown to know him over the years now with all the stuff that he's done, and you know, of course, it'd be awful for his daughter Fiona and everybody else, but also selfishly for the Chucky verse.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what if he died? Like this year? Like, what do you do?
Oh my gosh, I know.
Who's gonna do Chucky? No one can. You could never have someone emulate and copy him in a way that felt genuine ever again.
Yeah, I think it would.
Chucky dies with him.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's the case.
Yeah. And finally, the thing I can always count on is this show, and it's usually attached to Chucky, is always going to make me laugh 1 or 2 times through an episode.
Yeah. And
the funniest line here in this episode.
Devin's like, my text just says "fuck you, Devin."
that
was so funny.
That got me pretty good. That's just
because it's just like Chucky, like he's sending them all these threatening, like, haha, like I'm alive texts, and then he just sends Devin that.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't.
It's like, I'm not gonna forget about you.
But I like don't care about.
But I really don't like you.
So funny.
That is so classic Chucky. Funny. So classic Don Mancini.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Those are the kinds of lines. That's the kind of stuff that reminds me, or assures me, should I say, that we're still not in, like, I've given up or phoning it in territory. Yeah. Like, this still feels like classic Chucky. Whether or not you like this style of Chucky. Like, I've seen tons of people who are just like, this show isn't for me. I tried. I hated it. I hated season 1. Usually the people who don't like Seed of Chucky.
Yeah.
Right? They just don't like this stuff.
Yeah.
we obviously love it, and I'll continue to keep loving it as long as it stays like this. This episode did not disappoint in any way, shape, or form.
Not at all.
And this episode definitely got me wondering, like, what the relationship between Secret Service and like the presidential family is actually like behind the scenes. Like, do they actually like form bonds and relationships? I would assume so, but like, is there a protocol behind not doing that? Or like, you have to go to specific things to be like, here's the parameters, you can only say this, you have to report. I don't know, like, are they wearing something? They do wear their little thing, so everything that they're saying, I'm assuming, is being broadcast.
I would assume that too, but maybe not.
Because you can't just like have someone alone with like the president's kid or
right.
something. Right? Like, everybody needs to know where everyone is at every time. So when they're like smoking weed, and the Secret Service agents like heart to heart a little bit, and Teddy has this relationship with Henry and all that stuff, I'm like, is that realistic? I mean, it's Chucky's, who cares? But it just got me thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. It got me thinking a little bit too, but I'm not sure what that is like.
The hypocrisy of parents, though. Well,
yes.
The president and the first lady sitting there toking it up.
Yeah.
As the older son is like, oh my God, could you imagine if they found out I was smoking in here?
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
I'd have to think of the Secret Service agents' names and who everyone's named after, because the one who killed himself is Teddy, obviously named after Teddy Theodore Roosevelt. So I wonder if they all have like president names.
That would be cute.
Famous politician names or something.
I don't know.
I'd have to look. I don't.
I only know his name.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah. Ooh. Oh, I don't know. Pretty much said everything, I guess.
I know. It was
it's a short episode.
It isn't a short episode, but it was. We just talked about everything that happened.
Yeah. I mean, okay, here's the question. This is the big question. This is the question we had from the trailer, and the question they even asked within the show, and the question I can't even begin to imagine. What is Chucky's plan? Why the White House? What does he want?
To pardon Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah, I had suggested that in our trailer reaction, I think.
I suggested that.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I'm sticking by, because I honestly have no other idea why he would be there.
But their relationship, I mean, they're always all over the place. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know how he's going to get that done. He's going to hold the kid hostage until the president does it. I really don't know. I don't know if like Chucky's trying to get nuclear codes or what. He wants to become president? That ain't going to happen. Right? Like, I don't really know what his aim is. Right? He just wants to be in the White House because he's a psychopath.
Yes. And he just wants power.
He just wants, yeah.
But how he's going to get the power as a doll? I mean, maybe he wants to.
Oh, you know what? He might actually can.
Right?
I was going to
so
say
that
he can try to become the president.
The voodoo ritual, so he can become the president.
But yeah, there you go. So that's it. I forgot that he has the ability to like transfer his soul into another human body now.
Yeah.
He couldn't do that before, so now he has the ability, because the rules of Chucky seem to change all the time.
Yeah.
And he was able to do it with Nika, right? They had like two souls trapped in one body kind of thing. So that makes sense. Yeah, there it is. That's it. He's going to try to split his soul like a Horcrux, probably, because he likes being in the doll. But he'll transfer his power over to be the president. Mm-hmm. And then, oh no. Then it's really, President Chucky. That makes sense. Yep. This is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So you got President Chucky. President Chucky demands that the Good Guy doll factory be reopened.
Right.
Jennifer Tilly has been freed from prison. I have instituted the new Purge.
He would love the Purge.
Little crossover event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's done by, I think, the same company, too. It is. Yeah. Anyway, so that's right. That's I'm going with that. That's
good.
He's going to transfer his soul over to the president. Of course he is. Or the vice president, then kill the president and become the president. Right. Yeah. There's that
Either
as well.
way.
So, yeah, there you go. Now, episode 2 is called Let the Right One In. This, of course, is a title of a movie, as well as episode 3, which is called Jennifer's Body. And obviously is a reference to Jennifer Tilly. And the first one, Murder at 1600, is the name of a film as well. So everything I don't remember every episode being named after a film.
I don't either, but I'd have to look back and see. Maybe that was something we missed.
No, I wouldn't have missed it. It would have just been like, it was something I would have forgotten. Of course, I would have picked up on, 16 titles in a row, all being film titles, because all these are obvious. And just so you guys know, I didn't look, I just saw them and I looked away, but all of the synopses for each episode from episode 1 to 4 are listed on the episodes. So I can only assume episode 4 has spoilers for episode 3 or 2, so I wouldn't look, but I don't know why the hell they're there. Maybe they're vague. I did see what episode 4 is about when I looked very quickly, because we saw it in the trailer and I was like, oh, well, that's where that happens. So now I'll know what episode that's going to happen. So if you want to avoid spoilers, that is a minor one there on IMDb from what I saw. So that's that. Episode 1 in the books. Always looking forward to talking about this show. Hope you guys are enjoying it. I know our style of reviewing or discussion is very different than others, but this is the way we like to do it. We just spitball stuff. Been doing it like this for almost a decade now, and that ain't going to change. So if you did like hanging out with us, subscribe. Why not?
Subscribe and hang out more.
Yeah. And always look forward to pretty much everything horror. We are the hardest working people in horror business reviews. I'm telling you that right now. That is true. You find someone who does more reviews than us, and I'll give you a pat on the back. All right. Until next week, guys.
Bye.
Adios.